How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the show. It is Monday. We're going live. Me and John Rocha. And we have tons to talk about, man. As we've discussed on this show many times over, especially on the Monday show, we've talked about the box office. We talked about how May was the lowest summer box office in history. And we kept wondering, could June start to turn it around? And there was discussion that Bad Boys 4 could be the movie that starts the trend. And it certainly seems to be doing that. It costs $100 million to make. It made $100 million so far worldwide. Will Smith is back putting money in the box office. Martin Lawrence, they do a fourth one. Will it continue? We shall see. Speaking of continuing, Indina Jones, this in the circle of life, we'll call it for now until I remember what the title is. But this new, the Great Circle, I think it's called. This new trailer, is it breathing life back into that franchise? We'll talk about it, and we'll see if maybe that's the way to go in the future for Indy. Knives Out, there's a brand new one, part 3. There's a still photo from that, and there's more. There's more that we'll talk about. There's Beverly Hills Cop. There's this new scene from that movie. Maybe we'll touch on the Acolyte again, because I don't think John and I have really talked about it since we've both seen it. Now that it's been released. So we'll discuss that and more. And we're taking your questions. Your questions, you're ready. I mean, look, we didn't even start yet, and I've already seen you guys throwing in those super chats. The way that works is we'll go through all of the topics, and at the end, we'll go through, when we're done with all the topics, we'll get to your questions. Before I hit the music, I also want to tell you guys that my first show in New York, live show, is going to be with Dan Murrell, and that's June 21st. Tickets, links in the description. You can live stream it also. That's also in the description in the link. Dan Murrell's running this thing. I'm merely a co-host, but go check it out. It's June 21st. There's already, I think, like 60 tickets that have been sold. So I don't know how many left. So you want to go check it out, then do it. So it's me and Dan Murrell. All right. It is myself. It's John Rocha. It's the live show. Let's do it. Welcome back, everybody, to the Big Thing Live on Monday. This is our live episode of the show that we do. We have a lot to talk about. We're on Apple, we're on Spotify, we're on all those things. So make sure if you're not checking us out over there that you are. I think we're pretty good on the audio listen. You're taking long drives, or at the gym and whatnot. Has been, who been, Lubin, Shubin, Dubin. There he is, John Rocha.
Hello. Good morning.
What's going on?
What's going on, man? Rough weekend, rough Monday, but I'm here.
What happened?
Just really busy with a lot of stuff, and we had the Lady Outlaw's sister stop by with the 2 puppies, the 2 little chihuahuas that we love.
Chihuahuas to go too.
They are a lot to deal with, but in the best ways, but they are exhausting. Yeah. So they're back again tonight, because apparently
some of the Schmoedown competitors.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, yeah. Fair point.
Wonderful to be around. It's exhausting sometimes. Listen. So let me ask you a question. You don't have to talk about it now if you don't want. The only reason I ask is I saw it all over social media, and I don't know what's going on. What's going on with Jeff Snyder talking about moving the hot mic over to Patreon?
Did he tweet that out? Is that what he did?
They're considering. They're considering it. And I said, I'll just ask Rocha about it. I'll hear it right from Rocha's mouth and give the audience a scoop. What's going on with the hot mic?
I love Jeff to pieces. I think Jeff is too sensitive about some people's comments online and on social media, and clearly he's still new to the YouTube space, because part of, this, Kristian, you told me about it before it happened to me as well. The game is that you have to have a thick skin to be on YouTube, to do these things that we do, especially if you're going to have controversial opinions. He texted me after somebody had commented, somebody with 5 subscribers on their YouTube channel posted a comment and said, I can't believe Jeff is asking for money for scoops. And then Jeff chimed in, and then all these people chimed in. And I got these text messages on Friday from Jeff saying, hey man, I think we should move it to Patreon, and we should do this or that. And And I said to him, I appreciate your feelings about this, Jeff, but like, maybe don't lose the plot just because some nobody said some shit and you got upset. Like, it's not. He just takes it all too seriously. This is the game, and so
it's not moving. It's not moving off Patreon.
No, it's not. If we do it to Patreon, which by the way we haven't even started. If we do a Patreon, and I really don't appreciate that Jeff went off half cocked before we had a conversation. This is a frustrating part sometimes of having Jeff as a co. And I know I love Jeff. He's a good friend and all, but sometimes he can just run off half cocked. And so I said to him, I don't want to do that because I pitched the show to you. I built the show. I created the show. The show is on the Outlaw Nation channel. And but if you want to do a second show that is not live and we can just do you and I shooting the shit and put that up on Patreon and create a Patreon.
So it's like you can do like a scoop heavy on Patreon and that way
exactly
incentives to do. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes
so
sense.
I didn't know he had run off half cocked without talking to me, but
he didn't say definitively though. In his defense, he just said we're considering it. Is what.
But we weren't considering it because we hadn't had a conversation about it. So this is the thing that I love Jeff. I do, and I love working with Jeff. But sometimes he gets upset and he just
tell you as much. He tell you as much. But okay. Well, good to know. The show's staying on the channel, and then maybe they added extra on. So maybe that's the positive out of the negative is that a new episode will come out, and then and almost treat it like the newsletter where you get a Patreon episode with some scoops. That's great.
I told him that. Yeah, and look, I'm really proud of the new show we got going on. Spill the Tequila with me and Winston A. Marshall. They're on the show on the channel. That's a fun new show that we're doing where we just talk about like cultural stuff. And it's a great conversation. We had a 2-hour conversation the other night about the Caitlin Clark situation, about other stuff.
So I just saw that she's not getting into the Olympics, and then they showed the people, the committee that had said no, she's not getting in. What's your make on all this?
Yeah, it's a really interesting situation because Winston and I went back and forth about it, and I don't know if he's watching. You might want to chime in, but like it was a great conversation. If you guys want to watch it, it's on the channel. We spent about 50 minutes discussing this idea of Caitlin Clark not getting selected for the U.S. Olympics women's basketball team. And look, there's only, I think, 12 or 13 slots that are in there. And so, yes, you can argue by merit, by the fact that she's still a rookie in the WNBA, does she deserve to go? And there are arguments, I think, for both sides. And Winston and I did a great job, I think, of really breaking down both sides of the arguments, because Winston's very much like, no, she does deserve to be there. She hasn't done enough, and fair point, blah, 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 statistics. And I said she does deserve to be there because she's got some really great statistics for a rookie already in the first month and a half of the season. And if your whole premise, and that is in the mission statement of USA Women's Basketball on the Olympic website, to grow the game, what's a better way to grow the game than to have the most popular basketball player female basketball player on the planet on the team, to get more international eyes, to get new people exposed to the game, to have them watch these women who are incredibly talented on the USA Women's Olympic basketball team, and then more people will come and watch them play in the WNBA. That's what happened with U.S. soccer with women. Why not do this? It isn't like you're picking some scrub off the bench who's just popular because she has OnlyFans. Caitlin Clark is an incredible ball player. So would it suck to leave someone home? Yes, but at the end of the day, it's about the overall bigger picture here, and I think that's
I'm with you. I think you put her on the team and let her sit on the bench if you have to for a majority.
Play her 3 minutes. Who cares?
When she comes in and plays a couple of minutes, you get the exposure on it. You get the eyes on some of the players that have been playing this game for a long time and get, wow, I didn't even know about this player, and I tuned in for Caitlin Clark, and I stayed for so and so.
Right.
It's like I think it's a little short-sighted in general. I understand the kind of, I don't know if bitterness is the word, but I understand the idea of like, great, we've been doing this game for so long, and now they're paying attention because here comes this woman from college, she's white, and now everyone's paying attention now. Right. And what the hell? I understand that. I can understand being upset about it, but I think that the other side of that is, okay, well, look, but they're watching now, so let's show them what we do. That's where I wish it would go, and I bet you there are some players that are taking that. But
I think it's a small minority of people who have an issue with it, Kristian, who are like jealous or upset. And look, I get the cultural implications. Like, it's a 70% black female league. You have a white woman coming in and getting all this attention, who hasn't proven that she can do it in the league just yet. And so you get some hurt feelings, but this happens in every league. How many of those ball players in the 50s and 60s who sold insurance in the summer just to pay their rent? Look at what ball players started making in the 80s, 90s, and even now, and went absolutely insane. The same thing with NFL players, right? This idea of like, oh, these NFL players, same thing they had to do, but now the NFL players starting in the 80s, 90s, and the 2000s and 2010s, making millions and millions and millions, hundreds of millions of dollars to throw the ball. I think Rodgers is going to make like 60 million or 50 million or whatever. LeBron's going to get $51 million to play basketball. Great. So you look at this, and this is always the transition. Yeah. And this is just how we're watching it real time. And so many feelings are hurt and people think like they're being disrespected, but this happens in every league. And unfortunately, you're just in the mill right now.
It shouldn't be short sighted. You should use it to your advantage. But anyway, yes. So moving on, let's go, dude. We have a couple of great stories here to talk about. And the first is the box office.
Yeah, man.
So we've got Bad Boys. We were talking about this a little while ago.
Yeah.
And you're saying this could be the one, but this is from Dark Horizons, the Sony Pictures Bad Boys Ride or Die. It isn't just offering a much needed boost to the domestic box office, is also doing the same for international. The fourth feature in the action franchise earned 104.6 million globally this weekend, 56 domestically, 48 overseas. Domestically, it's the highest grossing R-rated opening since Oppenheimer last July, and Will Smith's sixth highest domestic opening overall. Internationally, it was just a little shy of 2020's Bad Boys for Life, which debuted to 50.3 in its first overseas weekend. It achieved franchise best numbers in Latin America and the Middle East. The opening obliterated that of Furiosa Mad Max Saga just over 2 weeks ago. That film domestically was pushed to sixth place in its third weekend with 4.2, down 61%. Internationally, it did stronger, 13.7. Globally, it's at 144. Domestic overseas split 58 million, 85 million. Garfield the movie continues solid in its third weekend. It took another 10 million for second place and a further 15.3 overseas. Worldwide so far of 192 million so far. Not far behind was John Krasinski's If, added another 8 million domestically in third place and 6.2 million overseas, with a global total of 160 at present. And Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes has been the biggest hit of this summer thus far and currently sits at 359 million worldwide. This weekend's earnings helped push the franchise overall past the 2 billion mark. Finally, Godzilla and Kong the New Empire has surpassed Kong Skull Island to become the highest grossing entry in the legendary Warner Brothers Monsterverse, with 570 million haul from a budget of under 150. Okay, so there's a lot of numbers there, John.
Yeah.
So let's start with you, if I can get my mouse working. We'll start with you. What do you think about these? What stands out, I should say, out of all these numbers?
Well, I think the number one is Bad Boys for overperforming. I mean, a lot of people were really surprised at how well it did this weekend. I saw some predictions start to go up near the beginning of the weekend there, and I was very excited to see how well it did. I loved this movie. I had such a fun time with this movie. A perfect turn your brain off, have some fun, enjoy going back to this world again with two guys who have great chemistry with each other, and these directors who have done a better job than they did with the last film, and the last film was damn good. And so I like that these guys are being a part of this, and it's made as much as it's made. But clearly, Kristian, and I don't want to veer us off too far, but clearly there are still people who are upset about the Will Smith slap all these fucking years later. It is so frustrating. Stephen A. Smith did a whole thing about it, how he's got to sit down with black people and apologize to them. And then the THR article said this was an upset. Why would you call it an upset? This is not a sports analogy for box office. It's not upset. It should be a joyful thing. And you would think the Hollywood Reporter, who's dependent on movies still staying a big part of people's lives so that they get clicks on their sites to pay their writers, would be happy rather than upset about a film overperforming and doing well. So I'm very, very happy for Will, very happy for Martin, and I'm glad that this means we'll probably get another one coming up soon.
Well, to address that, I think that Will Smith was let off the hook by Chris Rock when Chris Rock obliterated his existence on that stand-up comedy special.
Fair point. Everything's been done that needs to be done. He's apologized and he's gotten destroyed. What more do people want?
Chris Rock slapped back 1,000 times over.
He did. He did.
He obliterated the man's life on that.
Yeah, his marriage especially.
Everything. He went after. I mean, like if Chris Rock hadn't responded still, I still think there would have been like, hey, Chris still hasn't said anything. Chris hasn't come to terms with this.
Right.
I don't know, man. It's like Chris still is shaken up about it. Chris Rock said, okay, you hit the way you do. I hit the way I do. And,
exactly.
he did it. And he did it. And that was it. And Will Smith had to take that punch. And then he went off. And look, there are people that I saw in my reviews like, I can't believe that you'd support this. I go, first of all, I saw a free screening, but second of all, I probably would go and see it. I would have seen it anyway to check it out. I felt differently than you did.
Okay.
I agree with you that I think they have amazing chemistry. I think they're having so much fun making these movies. I think that there's a lot of entertaining stuff. I thought a lot of the jokes fell flat, personally.
Wow. Okay.
I thought Martin Lawrence's stuff was just hit with a thud a bunch of times, but I am clearly in the minority because people are loving it. They did that. And look, speaking of what Jeff Snyder was talking about too, with comments and stuff, there were a few turds that were like, oh, every time you tune in, this guy just hates movies. He hates everything now. And I'm like, and then I like something and then it's like, all he does is love everything. So it's like, you can't win. You can't win. So it doesn't matter. But I went and I saw that movie and I was like, okay, but what I do understand is I understand why it's doing well. Yeah. I understand why it's another alternative movie that you can go and see that kind of takes you back old school. It takes you back. It gives you a nostalgia feel. There's a great moment in the movie that happens. That's probably one of the best moments in the entire franchise.
I agree.
I'll say is that this it has to do with the house burglary. That's all. Yeah. That's all I'll say. It's a great moment. There is a Fast and Furious feel to going now. And I think if you take that. And I think once I sat on that, even after I did my review and I sat on that, it's one of those movies that I might revisit and go, that's probably better than I gave it knowing what it is. Probably could have given a better review knowing what it is. But I did like the third one better. But I do agree with you that I think that these directors are the directors that should be doing this franchise. Yeah, it made the money that it's. I mean, 104 million worldwide. It made its budget back like that.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I have to ask you, Kristian, because I want to hear your thoughts on this. Because I mean, we've talked about the quote unquote death of cinema over the last 3 or 4 weeks, and the truth is, you cannot predict our society anymore. And not that you could in the past, but you could rely on certain things and certain franchises and whatever. Nowadays, it really is a crapshoot. You have no idea. Furiosa is a fantastic film, and it was removed by 600 theaters or something over the weekend because it only made $4 million in a follow-up weekend. That is a shame. I thought The Fall Guy was fun, even though the third act wasn't great. But like, I still thought, man, this is a great turn your brain off and have a fun summer action film. Underperformed. This one comes out, blows the doors off the box office. So when people say it's like the death of the superheroes, it's just a matter of, look, people are going to gravitate to what they gravitate to. And cinema's not dead. It's just people are preferring certain things over other things. And that's that,
I agree with that, but I will say that there's more. I think it's easier to track than you're giving it credit for.
Okay. Okay. Go ahead, please.
I think you could out of those three movies, Bad Boys, Fall Guy, and Mad Max. And you can't guarantee why, but I think you can track better of why one did well and the others didn't. When we were talking about these movies, we didn't say, we never once, me and you or anybody I talked to about Bad Boys, never said, this movie's going to bomb. We said that the movie will do good and it's got a chance to do very well, depending if the audience still cares. And it turns out they still care.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it did well because, and the other side is that, it had the black audience also has a movie to go and see, like, because you saw like that like I was talking to tons of people that were like, this is finally a movie that we get to see in the theaters too. People that that we feel again represented when it comes to our action and our comedy, and these guys have been around for so long. And not only did the black audience showed up, it's like everyone was showing up for this movie because it was nostalgia, and that's why it hit in the first place, right?
Yeah. And these guys have crossed over for decades.
Yeah, and it's
into white audiences, Latino audiences across the board, and so they showed up, as you said, very, very, very true, Kristian.
And that's another point, is that it also did its best in for Latin audiences this time around, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's whoever the guy that plays
his son,
Wilson's son is very good.
He's excellent.
Very good, and I bet you that that probably had something to do with it also. And I think that it was, and it's a cost $100 million overall to make. Well, we have been screaming from the mountaintops. If you make a summer movie, make it for $100 million, make it for $110 million, because when you make $100 million worldwide, everyone's going, whoa, it's a hit. It's a hit. If this movie would have cost $200 million and it made $100 million, Bad Boys did bad. So then now you go back to what we just talked about with Furiosa, $170 million on a great actress, not a movie star, on a character that the actress who brought her to life, Charlize Theron, not in the movie.
Not even in the movie.
Not in the movie. A long movie. The Mad Max, the Fury Road movie didn't do well. It did fine. The first one in 2015. It wasn't a massive hit. It did fine. So you can place why that movie didn't do well. It's like, that's a risk. If you could say it's a risk. And Fall Guy, fun movie, 2 big movie stars, but on an IP that's an old 70s TV show, early 80s, whatever it might be. And they didn't really know what it was. It looks like streaming movie overall. I will tell you, and we were going to talk about it a little bit, because of this movie with Bad Boys, it does make me question, and I wouldn't have said this last week. It makes me question that maybe they could have put Beverly Hills Cop in the theater and seen how it did. I don't know.
Maybe. Like you said, we're going to talk about that clip, but maybe. I just think what you've got here with Martin and Will is a chemistry that's unmatched, I think, in a lot of places, for people that are still doing it. And look, there's still rumors about a Lethal Weapon 5 with Mel and Danny. I think they're the only two that could maybe rival this chemistry of these two guys. And if that happens, great. We'll see how it does. But like with Eddie, I'm curious, because I mean, Coming to America was not good overall. And I love Eddie, but Eddie, you know this, man. Eddie is
hold it for a second. We're going to get to that. I think we're going to talk about it for a bit. I feel like we might be on the same page on
true.
But overall, and then you look at the other stuff that was on that list, right? And you, because someone said, and I think rightfully so, in the comments, they were saying, well, is this how it's always going to work now? If a movie doesn't do well, like, oh, the box office is dead. If the movie does well, it's like, oh, the box office is back. And I think that I would probably be that person that is putting that comment in the section if that was, the other way around. I understand that comment completely, because it's true, and it's the same thing whether it's in sports or whatever it is. Like, oh, they're winning, they got a chance. Oh, they're losing, they stink. But I think that what it's really going to, the reason why I think it's even a topic, because if you look at Bad Boys comes out, and then I think are going to see Inside Out tomorrow, right?
Yes, tomorrow night. Yes,
as am I. So that's going to say a lot, because we already know. You look at the movies that have done well outside of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. The two, I mean, If keeps putting on money, Garfield keeps putting on money, and that's because, as I've said, that's the one bulletproof thing that you can do if you do a kids movie well enough, good enough, average enough, because parents are going to say, oh, we got to get these kids out of the house. Let's go to the movies. Is there anything out? And majority of the year, it's very hard to find. If you wanted to, you can go to the movies every week if you wanted to and catch something that you might like, or at least be interested in.
Yeah.
My kids, I've got to, is there anything out? Not yet. Okay, when's it coming out? When is that movie coming out? Okay, we got Garfield coming out and If's coming out. What about after that? Well, summertime, now you got Inside Out. Okay, great. And Despicable Me. So summer is where the kids' movies are firing in, because that's when all the kids are off of school, and that's when you can take them to see these movies. And I think Inside Out is going to crush. Yeah,
I hope so. I need it to crush, because I think I love the first one, and I would love to see people enjoying themselves in a movie like this, especially with the way it's been pitched and presented, and all these new emotions coming in, the fact that it's tackling anxiety issues, which I think has become a much more open topic to talk about in our mainstream pop culture existence. And so I love that that was an element of the new Bad Boys. So I'm not going to ruin anything, but someone has to deal with that kind of issue in Bad Boys. So I love that it's going to be highlighted here with Maya Hawke's character in this next one. And the clips they've released look fantastic. So, and the dialogue is great. So I'm looking forward to it, man. I hope it's great.
Yeah, me too. I was curious to see. I'm going to be doing an out of the theater reaction to that on Tuesday. As I'm sure John's going to be doing one on Tuesday also. So make sure you check that out on both our channels. And I think as far as anything else goes, Apes will hit about 400 million, I think, before it closes out. And that's going to be, I think we'll see another Apes movie for sure. Bad Boys, because of, I think that the buzz behind it is really pretty big, and I think that people will. I don't think it's going to have that big of a drop off. What comes out this weekend besides Inside Out? I mean,
I think that's it.
That's it. So that's not the same audience. So I think that I don't think the drop off is going to be that big for Bad Boys, and I think it's going to have a second weekend that's going to be pretty good. That'll start to tack on more money, and I think it's going to even look like more of a hit when we revisit.
There's nothing coming in the next few weeks that's going to rival it until Quiet Place on June 28th.
Right.
I think that's the only big thing that's coming next over the next couple of weeks. So as I look at
it was a great release. They released. I mean, like you said, June 21st. You got the Bike Riders. That's not going to do anything. The Exorcism. June 28th. You're right. So Quiet Place, because even Horizon. That one is going to be confusing to me.
I'm dreading.
I'm confusing. It's confusing. I'm excited for it because I like you. I like Westerns. I like Kevin Costner. I want to see, but that is such a gamble. That is such a gamble because it's like you put that movie out in June, and if nobody cares, then you got to put the second one out in August.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, but it's not good. But I still think that you're right. I think Quiet Place will be the one that gives any competition to Bad Boys. So Bad Boys could have a very good month, and I think in general the movies that Quiet Place could do decent. I can't imagine that the budget was that big for that movie, so I'm sure that will be good for Paramount. I think that Bad Boys will wind up. Won't win the month. I think Inside Out will win the month. But I think it'll be a significant turnaround for the box office in June, and then July is going to be big because of both Despicable Me and Deadpool.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. Okay, so I ask you guys. I mean, that's a lot of box office stuff. What did you think? Do you think that what the points that John and I made about these particular movies, are we on point? Are we off the mark? What say you? Make sure that you put your comments in there. Tell us whether you're watching on replay, whether you're in the live chat. And as I've mentioned, because what we do every time, and I notice there's tons of super chats already. The super chats come in beforehand. They come in during. They come in while we're answering questions in the first place. So we'll be here until the end of the show. So before I move on, I wanted to tell you guys real quick, as we do each and every week, we have been blessed with our wonderful sponsors that we have on this show. It keeps us going. And I want to tell you that this episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. And then I'm going to tell you about Mack Weldon. Here you go. All right, guys, this episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. So BetterHelp, I've been telling you guys about BetterHelp for a while now. We've had a lot of people that they've been helped out by. So this is why the big thing is sponsored by BetterHelp, because what's the first thing you need to do? If you had an extra hour in your day, would you go for a run? Would you take a nap? Would you read a book? Would you show up for a friend? Well, the problem is a lot of us spend our lives wishing that we had more time. The question is, time for what? If time was unlimited, how would you use it? The best way to squeeze that special thing into your schedule is to know what's important to you and make it a priority. Therapy can help you find what matters to you so you can do more of it. So I've mentioned Roxy Stryer. She's talked about it many times. She's really benefited from BetterHelp. I've had people inside of my family that have benefited from BetterHelp because talking to someone helps. And if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's online, it's designed to be convenient, it's flexible, and it's suited to your schedule. You fill out a brief questionnaire, you get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists anytime, no additional charge. Learn to make time for what makes you happy with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/bigthing today and get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/bigthing. So I love Mack Weldon. I have been obsessed with them. And I'm not even going to tell my wife. I'm going to call my wife right now just to show you guys how much I love Mack Weldon. Here you go. Hey.
Just call me?
I did. So I'm telling the audience about Mack Weldon. I want you to say a few words about what you've noticed so far with me wearing Mack Weldon.
They fit your body really well. Flattering. The materials that they use are high quality. They're well made, not cheap.
See?
They're just really flattering to a man's physique, and especially yours.
Yeah, well, these are classy. This looks classy. It makes you feel good. It's the fit's good. I feel good when I'm wearing them. I get a confidence boost when I'm wearing them, and it's like it's not flashy. You know, it's just like it's classic, and it feels like it's always in style.
Yeah, they are. They're classic pieces. They're like staple pieces.
And it's regular. It looks like regular clothes, but they just look better. I mean, like they had that. They gave me some sweatpants. They gave me that polo. Those pants that I really like those pants.
I think it's really great for the casual professional.
Yes.
Who doesn't want to be just, really like ragged jeans and t-shirt, but still kind of casual and comfortable. It's a good for the casual professional.
So
it's not fancy and it's not overdressed, but it's still, you don't want to look like you rolled out of bed.
Yeah, well, there you go. All right, thank you, honey.
Bye.
She had no idea I was going to do that, and that's what she said. So if you want to get a timeless look with modern comfort from Mack Weldon, you got to go to MackWeldon.com and get 20% off your first order, but you got to use that code BIGTHING. Mack Weldon, MackWeldon.com. Use that promo code BIGTHING. You will thank me. I'm telling you, I love Mack Weldon. I'm going to be shopping at Mack Weldon for a very, 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 very long time. I promise you that. So this is what I can't say. The good news is this. This is stupid. I hit the button. I'm like, the good news is this, and I sign out of the.
You went full Sopranos.
The show is over. What I will say is the good news is that my wife doesn't watch any of these shows.
Oh yeah.
And I'm cleaning out, because we're moving, and this is our last week in the studio and the house.
Yeah.
And I'm wiping all the old computers, and we're bringing them to the Mac stores. And I had to sign into my wife's email.
Oh,
yeah. But whatever, she signs into mine. We obviously there's a lot of trust here, John.
But, I hope so.
But it was but I saw she got me Mack Weldon for Father's Day. Yeah. But I'm gonna pretend that I'm surprised.
Like a kid that looks for the Christmas presents in the closet.
I saw order confirmation Mack Weldon. She got me a whole bunch of stuff from Mack Weldon, and I was just saying I'm not gonna. I didn't see what it was. I just saw there was order confirmation.
You know, be a great way to mess with her is buy those pieces and start wearing them before she gives them to you.
And I know, order them now, and then be like, hey, look what I got for myself. Isn't that amazing? Amazing. So funny.
Genius.
Show over. Anyway, so okay. Now here's someone said to make sure you act super surprised, like John just said. But I'll tell you what I was surprised about was this trailer that I saw for this Indiana Jones thing.
Yeah. Huh?
Where is it? So no, that's not it.
We're almost there.
There he is.
There it is.
All right. So Indiana Jones, and this is a new trailer that came out today, and it was 5 minutes long. So it was like a whole scene from the game itself, and then it was what else did they do inside of this? It was just like a little teaser at the very end of it, but they just showed this thing with Indy, and I was like, I didn't know. I saw the first teaser, and I thought the first teaser looked solid. I thought I will say, and it's not only because I think because he's a friend of mine, but I thought Jamie Costa would have been a better choice than Troy Baker with the voice when I heard it the first time. And I still think Jamie is just masterful and would have been perfect. Troy Baker was way better in this clip. This clip was fantastic. This trailer was incredible. Yeah. This trailer made me say, I'm buying this game. The Xbox game showcase this morning revealed a 5-minute length trailer for its upcoming Indiana Jones and the Great Circle game coming this year. The single-player title hails from Wolfenstein: The New Order developers Machine Games. The story takes place in the gap between Raiders and The Last Crusade. Mostly first person with occasional third person sequences and a dubbed mishmash of Uncharted and Wolfenstein. The clip featured an extended scene with Indy and his partner Gina in the Himalayas looking for a stone when the Nazis interrupt them. There's also a Troy Baker doing his best Harrison Ford impersonation as Indiana Jones in the clip, with scenes also in Thailand, Egypt, and more in the trailer. While there have been rumors of this being a cross-platform release, Microsoft seems committed to making this an Xbox and PC only release with a launch day one on Game Pass later this year. So, John, let me start with you here, man. What did you think of this trailer?
I agree with you that this was a much better trailer to release than the teaser one they released. This one this one shows you the extensive nature of what they're going for in this, and the performance, the voiceover performance. That is a great imitation of Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones, and I thought that was so well done. The speech patterns are perfect. The responses to everything make sense, and just the vibe and the energy of this one feels very Indiana Jones-ish. And certainly for people who maybe didn't like the previous Indiana Jones movie, this looks like a blast and fun times. And the fact that it was 5.5, I think they released 5.5 minutes because I think they knew that teaser kind of went over with a little bit of a thud, and so they wanted people to really have a good idea of what this game is going to look like and feel like. And I thought it was fantastic, man.
It felt like an Indiana Jones adventure, and
100%.
And it has an advantage that the movies will never have again, unless you can. Well, I shouldn't say again. In 30 years from now, you probably could put a 34-year-old Harrison Ford in there, no problem, and no one will even know the difference. But as of today,
the way it's going.
Right. But as of today, when they tried to do it in the beginning of it, it's really noticeable, and it's like, and it was fine, but it wasn't great. And then say what you will about the overall movie itself, it was too expensive. It didn't land right in the way that they wanted to. This looks like, oh my God, I wish like this, I could see this as a full movie, and hell, I could play it. And the music was great. And like I said, when I saw that first teaser, I was like, Troy Baker is very talented, great voice actor in general, great actor. But I was like, I don't know if he's the guy. In this clip, he's the guy. He was great. He was great in this clip, and I like the back and forth with him and this new girl Gina. So it's got that that feel of like, oh, there's Marion, there's Willie, there's Elsa, there's Gina. Indiana's always surrounded by new women, tough women, and it did have an Uncharted feel to it.
Yeah,
but it didn't have an Uncharted feel like, oh, they're just trying to make him Drake now. It's like, no, it's Indy. They're making him Indy. So and the crazy Nazi who's doing like the cartoon dance and everything too. I was like, okay, give him a little bit of personality. I was like, this is it absolutely 100% made me say, this is a game that I could, after working, say, you know what I'm going to do? Because now at the new place, we're setting up like a little game room for the kids.
Nice.
And because they're the one that play the Xbox all the time. My little one plays Bluey and this Disney game, and then my oldest plays Sims and something else too. Well, I'm going to be now playing Indy because I was like, yeah, this game's for me. This game is absolutely for me, and I'm excited. I'm excited to play this game.
Yeah, I just hate that it's only Xbox.
Yes, it doesn't bother me.
PS5 for a little bit, so yeah.
I have Xbox, so I'm selfish, and I have Game Pass, so that's to me both. I'm like, okay, that's perfect. Perfect. I am on board for Indiana Jones and the golden circle, the fun circle, the best circle of life.
The circle,
all of that, and more circle jerk. How do you go that way? Anyway, all right. Let's move on to some other stories, John. We got some other stories here, and let's see what we got. Going back to this one. This is the first image, I guess, of Knives Out.
Yeah.
The new movie. It's got. They just said recently. I think is it Brolin that got cast in it recently?
Yes. Yeah. It's a hell of a cast, man.
Yeah. Brolin, Jeremy Renner. They're taking all the Avengers. Or all the Marvel characters. And then you got, this is a new photo from this series. Obviously, is a major win for Netflix. Are you looking forward to this third movie?
Oh, very much so, especially from that picture. Now you've got Daniel Craig with long hair. That's something I've never seen. So I'm really excited to see what this time frame is where we're finding Benoit Blanc in his life. In the last one, we got to very much a window into his personal life. Now this one, what's going on? What's the beard about? What's the long hair about? What's going on here? So maybe this is a harder edge Knives Out. This is a guy who's in transition in some way. So I'm very excited from that shot. And the fact that they put it in black and white, I think, is an interesting decision. Are they trying to evoke the best of mystery stuff from the past? Or are they trying to show that this is an artistic point of view? Is that a flashback? So there's a lot of questions I have, but the shot, such a fantastic shot of Daniel Craig, man.
Yeah, I was I really enjoyed the first one. I didn't love the second one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was about as predictable as you could get. That it just. I hope it's like they cast Jeremy Renner. Do not make Jeremy Renner the bad guy. Don't. It's so predictable if you do it. If he's the villain,
right?
So predictable. Don't do that because everybody's expecting it. So switch on side in the same way that all the stuff that was going on in the second one. I was like, well, clearly they're going to do that because they're setting that up. There's no way they're going to make that person the bad guy, and they're definitely going to make that person the bad guy. So it was just a little too predictable for me. But I understand why they're doing a third. I think they're doing a fourth also, right?
Yeah, he's got approved for both the third and the fourth one. Yeah,
which makes sense. Is major wins for Netflix by doing this in general, and these are big movies. These are big movies right now for Netflix, and the overall. When you listen to Sarandos and he talks about how when he was talking about Oppenheimer, how that Oppenheimer could have thrived on Netflix, and Barbie could have thrived on Netflix, and it's like. I don't agree with what he's saying, but I understand why he's saying it. I understand his the confidence when you're taking filmmakers like a Rian Johnson and saying, well, look, Rian Johnson could have put these out, and I think they did release them in the theater, like limited, whatever it might be, but you could have done this with a big studio and Disney could have picked it up or something, but we did it, and now everybody knows what Knives Out is, and now we're doing 4 of them. So there, and I think that if by scaling it down a bit, like and maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like Netflix is easier to find things now than it was a little while ago. Although I still haven't watched Hitman yet. Have you seen Hitman?
No, I'm seeing that. I'm going to watch that this afternoon, man. I've heard great things.
I've been waiting to see it. It's another. I guess we'll jump in. The reason why I'm all caught up on Dark Matter on Apple, which I highly recommend to everyone. It's probably my favorite show on TV on right now. That's airing right now. It is. Hands down the best written, best acted. Apple is just there's nothing's even coming close to it. And then I'm also rewatching with my daughter who's watching it for the first time, Arcane.
Arcane.
And that's kind of a story that I guess we can dive into here. Also is that Arcane is actually getting a release, I think on 4K. As we lead up, and I think that they just did something because season 2 is coming out at the end of the year, and I'm probably going to do rewatches or watch alongs for those because I just fell in love with this series. Have you seen this yet?
No, I know Michael Vogel has been trying to get me to watch this for months. So I got.
John, this will be one of your favorite shows, dude.
Really?
You'll love this show, dude. This show is next. I'm watching it again, and I'm just like, I was mad at myself that I haven't watched it again. It's so good. It's just brilliant. It's brilliant. Indie distributor G Kids has landed global videogram and digital transactional rights to Riot Games and Forge Productions' Emmy-winning animated series Arcane. Set with the League of Legends universe, it follows the origins of League champions V and Jinx as they become caught in the power struggle between the utopian city of Piltover and the oppressed underground city of Zaun. According to G Kids, they will release a full product array later this year, including digital editions and a 4K version that will only be available as a home entertainment release. That marks a rare physical media release for Netflix, who have only brought out a small handful of titles for sale on disc to date. The deal was announced at the Anaki International Animation Film Festival on Monday. The second season is targeting a November launch. So this is I would highly recommend not only this show to you, John, but anybody who hasn't watched Arcane before the season 2 comes out, watch it. It is and my daughter last night wanted to watch. I was cleaning up all these freaking computers. I couldn't watch the 3rd episode with her last night, but I'm going to finish that with her, and then just that. I like that shows you I'm still. I know. I'm 4 episodes into the show again, but I'm at least moving. And I did. I'm all cut up. I'm all cut up with Dark Matter. And I'll tell you, like, it's the more episode 3 of I'm so disappointed that I'm not like, I don't care about the Acolyte anymore. I just don't.
Wow.
I've seen 4 episodes. I'll finish it, but it's like it's a subpar show, dude. It's a subpar show.
Are we going to talk about it now, or you want to talk
Sure.
about it now?
Why not? You know, it's. I mean,
Okay.
I think that like, and
Yeah.
people who have seen the episode 3 are losing their minds over it, saying how it negates a lot of Star Wars mythology and stuff too. And there's parts of that I agree with, but I do think it's the best episode out of the 4.
Yes, I agree. It is the best
Yeah.
episode of the 4. Yeah.
It ties the story together, but I do think there's a lot in there that I think rightfully so. People are like, what are you talking about? How does that make sense with overall lore? But it just explained the story that they're telling and explain, but it's just my overall point of like, I just don't know if this was the show to do right now in the state that the Star Wars like fandom is at. I think they needed to do a show that was more so like, you know, like what Mandalorian season 1 and season 2 did. But you know, that's me.
It's no, I've after watching 4 episodes, I have to say that the frustrations I felt at certain times of the first 2 episodes were not alleviated by the 4th episode. And I agree with you. We texted about it over the weekend. The 3rd episode is the best episode of the 4. It is the most interesting. It's the most edgy, and it's got some really tough commentary on certain things that we've accepted as the norm, and questions about certain things, which I think is fantastic to take a look at. I think it's always great to question. Some people are really precious about stuff, and they don't want anything to be questioned, and they don't want just accept this 100% as this forever and always. And it's madness to think that way. I think it's always good to question things, because it makes you even more committed one way or another, or it makes you things to think. It makes you question things, and you look at it differently. But at the end, you could still feel the way you feel about it and still accept the flaws. So I love that that's a part of it. But then the 4th one, I thought there were 2 things that happened in that 4th one. I was like, what? Why?
I know. Well, and there's something that I think is very predictable that looks like it's, but I guess Manny P said, I guess, did you say you loved it or something? He said, wait, what? I thought you loved it.
No, I never said I loved it. I said I liked it. The first 2 episodes, I liked the first 2 episodes. There was potential for more, and I liked the performances. But no, if you watch our review, Michael is the one who liked it. I'm in the middle, and Shannon liked it the least. And then with the Jedi Way, I think all 3 of us felt the same way about it, that it was good, but we thought there were issues with it. Yeah.
And I said the first 2, I said, look, I think that the story itself, I'm interested to see where it goes. And then, like I said, when I saw the 3rd one and I watched that 3rd episode, I was like, that's it. That 3rd episode absolutely tied in together and gave me more backstory of what I wanted to like learn. And I did that. But it's like when I was talking, like, I wanted to be like really excited about this show. Yeah. And I did think that it was going to be a, you know, the building of the Legend of the Sith. And and that's on my expectations, and that the expectations were not met. And so was I a little kind of bummed by it? Yeah. But as I say, people enjoyed it. People enjoyed it. Yeah. That's there you go.
Well, the canon thing is also, like, I saw someone put a comment, and I don't want to go after, but it's like, canon matters. Canon matters. Well, yes, but it's not like Star Wars doesn't have a track record of messing with their canon from the original trilogy on. So
but that doesn't make it right. I'm with the commenter.
Yes or no? It depends. I think it depends on the situation. You can mess with canon if you do it well. If you mess with canon and you don't do it well, I think that's when it stands out, right? And so,
but that's subjective. I guess that's subjective. Also,
it is subjective, right? 100%.
If like, there's a lot of things that I think that weren't handled well with canon in the prequels. I think there were a lot of things that were not handled well in canon in Obi-Wan. I think there's a lot of stuff that's not canon in general. Filoni does not give flying crap about any of the books or anything too.
That's so obvious
at all. Like the whole Asajj Ventress thing, didn't care at all about this stuff. And they didn't give you some cockamamie thing going, oh yeah, it kind of like matters. Like, no, it doesn't. And so that kind of stuff, I'm like, it canon to me matters if you want me to be invested in it. If you don't want me to be invested in it, then sure, change it up. It's like, then okay, you're changing up, but don't ask me to care about it, because it clearly doesn't matter to you.
But we look at Luke and Leia kissing in the first Star Wars, and in the second one, hey, they're brother and sister. That's messing with foundational canon. So I'm just saying that there are things that have been adjusted at times, but it has to be collectively embraced by the fandom. When if you do it well, the collective embracement of it by the fandom lets you know you did it well. And if you didn't do it 100% well, then you'll find people. And I do think it's a shame, because there are some people who have legitimate criticisms of the show, but they're being lumped in with some people who are invested in criticizing it. And unfortunately, that's how it is right now because people do not have the time to disseminate between the two.
No.
And it's frustrating because I think legitimate criticism is fine, you know?
Yeah. All right. Last thing we'll talk about, then we'll get to the questions. And that's we talked about Beverly Hills Cop before. And let's get to it because there was a clip today. This is the 4th movie in the franchise. Eddie Murphy returns as Axel Foley. And there was a clip that he put out there with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. They're up on a rooftop. They steal a helicopter, and you learn a little bit more about Joseph JGL's character, if you will. So yeah, John, you kind of alluded to it before with the clip. What did you think of this clip?
First of all, let me preface this by saying there's no bigger Eddie Murphy fan than me on the planet. I've seen just about every one of his movies, even the terrible ones, because I love Eddie. I just love Eddie. He's a seminal person in my life. Beverly Hills Cop is a fantastic film, one of my favorite films ever made. Loved Beverly Hills Cop 2 as well. Great crowd-pleasing, entertainment value film. Beverly Cops 3, hilariously stupid, like hilariously bad. Awful. So this one, I was excited because it had the vibe of the first two when you watch the trailers. And then this clip dropped. And I have to say, dude, I'm disappointed because I was hoping this would be Eddie playing Axel Foley. And what we get in this clip is Eddie just playing Eddie and old Eddie instead of Axel edgy Eddie. And it's just a shame to see that. And his comic beats are the same comic beats that he's been using on other things that we've seen him since he came back. And it's not Axel Foley. And Joseph Gordon-Levitt is fine, but this isn't Axel Foley from what I see in that clip, bro.
I don't disagree with you.
Right.
But what I will say is this. I still enjoyed the clip because I don't have full context and how it played to get us to that moment.
Yeah, but watching that old man run up the stairs, bro.
Yeah, that's going to come with any of these older characters. You know, I mean, even watching Will Smith and Martin Lawrence do it, you know, it's like, so I actually thought Joseph Gordon-Levitt was great in the clip. I thought
he's always great. I love Joseph. Yeah.
Great in the clip. And I thought like, okay, I thought he was playing kind of a more real character.
Yeah.
As where I did feel like that, you know, there's a Spirit Airlines thing in there.
Yeah.
It's like just cut that line out.
Yeah.
And right after that, then it felt like Axel. There are moments in there that felt like Axel, like a lot of it. And then there was like, oh, let me throw a one-liner in here because, you know, it's like that's not what Axel was. When Axel in that first movie is throwing out the one-liners, but it's in the middle of the moment, and you feel like he actually just comes up with it at the top of his head. It doesn't feel like it's a joke writer that came up with it. And now say Spirit Airlines. It's like, but I don't think that's going to necessarily hurt the movie yet. But I do think that you have a very valid concern where it's like I was so excited for Coming to America 2, not only because of Eddie Murphy, because I'm a huge Craig Brewer fan. Love Craig Brewer,
right.
And I thought that movie completely missed the mark. And there were some outrageous moments in Coming to America for one. Of course, there were.
God.
But it was a balance of tone where you almost like it's like, do you believe that it's real? That's always the question. Even if it's an absurd of 150, do you believe that it's real, or do you believe, as you said, that this is just someone just being themselves?
Yeah.
Saying, oh yeah, and I happen to be this guy. Like I always mention Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull. I do not think that Harrison Ford is playing Indiana Jones in that movie. Whatever you say about that last movie,
good point.
He's playing old Indy in the last movie, whether you like it or not. He's playing old Indy. He feels like it. Yeah. In the Crystal Skull, he lands in between. I bring this up. I'm bringing it up since the movie came out. He lands in between the two Russians in that first scene. He goes, "Damn, I thought it was closer." And as he's making that line, the two Russians are going, "Huh?" Like, punch the old guy before he can finish his sentence. It's like stuff like that drives me crazy in the same way that, but this helicopter scene was fun for me enough to where it's like, it was more so. I think that I was like 80% with them. Yeah. Saying it's Axel with a 20% going a little too much Eddie Murphy. Give me a little more Axel.
Yes.
But I got to see the movie.
Right. You got to put it in context. And
yeah.
Because I mean, when you watch those first two movies, I don't want to talk about the third one, but when you watch the first two movies, Axel's humor is jabs. He is jabbing, right? We know this. And when you're watching him in this clip, he is like, I'm trying to make you laugh, as opposed to I'm jabbing you in the moment because I'm coming from a place of power. Axel was always from a place of power in those first two movies. He is never caught on his heels. He is putting everyone else on their heels. So to see him frantically screaming at Joseph Gordon-Levitt and looking like he's on his heels, that concerns me as an Axel character because I love Axel.
Where did he go? But also, why is he still a detective at 60-something years old?
Well, it's like Tom. See, and they made that work for Tom Cruise and Top Gun Maverick. You got it because Tom is a rule breaker. But with Eddie, you got to see.
But let's see why. But that's why I'm not judging it yet because
totally.
There were enough moments in the scene.
Yeah,
but I was still like, okay, this is still a Beverly. I still feel like it's Beverly Hills Cop, but there was like the Spirit Airlines stuff and a couple other things. I'm like, let's just hope there's less of that and more action, and there's a good balance. So we'll see soon. Okay, now we get to the questions, John. We got a bunch of questions were coming in.
All right, let's do it.
And we'll be here, you guys. You throw them in there. Even when we're talking and going through them now, and we'll be here until the last one is read. Here's the first one, and we start today with Bad Sinister McCall. Omega Red and Deadpool. He needs to be in the MCU soon. Are you familiar with Omega Red? Because
I mean, we saw it in X-Men 97. So will they show up in Deadpool? I don't know. The question is there. So maybe, and if it does, it's an interesting expansion of the MCU. There are a lot of rumors. We saw the Sean Levy article last week that there's going to be 60 plus, and Jeff on the hot mic said 66. So 60 plus it of people appearing in the Avengers 5. So Omega Red could absolutely be one of them, because why wouldn't there be mutants all over the world? Why wouldn't there be heroes all over the world? So it's a way of expanding the world, and I think it's a smart move if they do it well.
This movie's going to jumpstart the X-Men, the Deadpool. It's going to. I mean, I know that we've already had a couple teases, but this is going to be like, oh, here we go. Here we go.
Yeah.
Carlton Ryder, there he is. London Calling. Imagine it's September 1st, 2024. What are your top 5 grossing movies of the summer? How many live action? How many animated? So if you're going to September 1st, 2024, Deadpool Wolverine is number 1. Despicable Me
with only 500 million. Okay.
Oh, now you're sucking up and realizing that your actual bet. Someone sends you the clip.
I said 500 million. Yeah,
you said 500 million.
You said 750. So I think it's going to go under. But anyway, whatever. Let's keep going. And what else? What do you got?
Sing a new tune every day, my friend. All right, so September 1st, 2024. A lot of
music out there.
Deadpool Wolverine. There's a lot of music out there. Deadpool Wolverine. Shut your ass. That's a new song by Frank Sinatra. They found it. Shut your ass, Rocha. Shut it now. They have September 1st, 2024. Deadpool Wolverine. Despicable Me.
Okay.
Inside Out.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Number 3. 4. Apes
is doing well.
Apes is doing well, and then 5. I think Bad Boys at 5.
I say Deadpool and Wolverine. Definitely think Bad Boys. Definitely think Apes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw Twisters in there.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
I think Twisters has a real shot. If it's good, I think Twisters is a real shot to surprise a lot of people.
I think that's a good call, and I think that Glenn Powell right now is riding the comet. Yeah. So maybe I think you're right. I think I wouldn't be surprised if you replace Bad Boys with Twisters. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, and Inside Out 2 or Despicable Me, but Despicable Me has such a great track record, so maybe that one. Yeah.
Ralph, what is your personal director Mount Rushmore? Scorsese, Spielberg, Kubrick, Tarantino, Nolan, and P.T. Anderson are tied at number 5. I mean, those are tough. That's so hard to do. I would put all those in there. Scorsese, Spielberg, Kubrick, Tarantino. I mean, I'd have to steal that list. I mean, Nolan. I don't. Oh man, yeah. I'd have to steal your list. I'd steal your list, and then Nolan probably right on the side. I don't know if I'd put P.T. Anderson on the outside there, but I'd put Nolan on the outside.
I call recency bias on this, so I will say Orson Welles, Kurosawa, Scorsese, Tarantino, and Kubrick, and I have to leave Spielberg off because I think Spielberg's a great director and clearly a consistent director.
Wow.
But I don't see him necessarily in my mind as groundbreaking. That being said, it doesn't mean that he isn't, right? It's just that for me, these are the films that I gravitate to more than his stuff. So,
yeah. All right.
Yeah. In no way am I denigrating Steven. He's a fantastic filmmaker.
I disagree. All right. So here's Claiborne Davis. I got a movie question at Trivia Night recently, and I was wondering if the Outlaw knew it. What's the name of the mad scientist in The Nightmare Before Christmas who created Sally? see you in New York next week. Thank you. Yeah, excited to see you as well.
Yeah. I do not know the answer to this because I do not. That's not my movie, man. I fall asleep watching that movie all the time. I am not a Nightmare Before Christmas fan. If you asked us a movie of Michael Vogel, he would know it in about 2 seconds. So
You know who loves that movie? My little one.
Oh, yeah?
She loves it. Yeah. So, okay. Well, yeah. So you're gonna have to put the answer in there. It's Claiborne because it looks like
Karloff? I don't know.
Outlaw just whiffed. Okay. So here is the.
I'm retired.
Yeah, it's true. Everybody is. I gotta tell a story. Poor Smetsy.
Oh, what happened?
Well, he came over. I gave him. Well, I mean, poor Smets and not poor Smets. He came over because I had a gift I was giving him before.
Oh, nice.
Leaving. Yeah, you got the belt, so you got my gift.
I'm not complaining. I just said it's nice that you got.
I know. But so he came over and I think he thought I was giving him the old school Inner Geekdom belt.
Oh,
I wound up giving him 2 Gentle Giant Star Wars figures.
Oh, nice.
It was like it was Evil Ray, and I think he gave one of those to Janish, and I gave him this Darth Maul one that I had. Nice. And so I think he was very appreciative of it, but I think he was bummed that I didn't give him the belt. But all right, let's see. There it is.
You mean that belt?
Yeah. That's right. I did give JTE the broken almost like the hardcore championship old team.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
I'm pretty sure he broke it. So I gave him that one.
You break it, you give it.
Exactly. All right, Steve Frederick. I rewatched the Schmodown with the Jane Fonda answer. Kristian, do you agree with your ruling? And John, do you yes? I agree with the ruling that he should have never gotten the points in the first place. I do not agree with the ruling of myself when I made them spin again.
Yes,
that I shouldn't have done. I was in the moment, but I do no. I should have right away just said no. You're not getting that point. It was complete gibberish he wrote on the thing. Come on,
I still contend that I should have gotten consideration for that because I understand the spirit of the rule, but I'm the only one who answered it correctly. And JT's argument was, you had more time. You're supposed to write it on the board. If you that's
the rule.
Trivia Schmodown, which means if you know the answer, you should get a little credit for knowing the answer. So I should have got at least half.
Now let's reverse it. If JTE would have been the only one who knew the answer and said it, but didn't write it down, you would have been okay with that?
If you had voted for him, I would have been okay with it. I would have been mad in the moment, but I would have been okay with it and gotten over it. I've never gotten over this ruling, and I never will get over this ruling.
When are you running for office? All right, let's.
I should. You're right.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Kingsport. Yeah, what's up, Cal? In New York, would you be able to drive without traffic? I wonder if you'll like driving. Do you have a favorite car, stick shift, or auto? I actually had a stick shift for a while that I really enjoyed. It was just an Explorer, but I dug it. I do like driving. I'm probably going to get. I had to sell one of the cars, obviously, to pay for this freaking move.
Yeah, people should make it clear because Calvin, he's not moving to New York City. Like he's not moving to the city. There's a difference. Yeah.
I'm not moving to the city. So, but for me, when I'm going I have to go into the city.
All right, fair point.
Train take me 35 minutes to 40 minutes into the city with the train. So, but yeah, I do. Yeah, I like driving. But I wouldn't. That's the beauty of and then my office is like 7 minutes away from my house now, and it's like I could, if I wanted to, I could walk it and get some exercise out of it, and I could take the train to do stuff. And it's like I don't have to drive around where I am. And even the oldest is going to be taking a bus to school. Wife's taking the little one to school in the morning. So yeah, it's way easier to live at this moment. Even last night, I was listening to some of we were living in a fairly quiet neighborhood here, but it's so you could hear all the busy traffic and everything too. And when I was at the new place for a week, it's so peaceful. The only thing you can hear is like the train kind of in the background. Yeah, but it's not like, it doesn't feel like it's going through your living room. It feels peaceful in the background.
You're gonna like it, dude. I have not regretted one day since I moved out of LA.
Mike Joyce, Celtics are dominating the Mavs. They even need to play all 4. What do you think, John?
Yes, because it was in Boston, and they got some favorable calls in game 2 that was ridiculous, especially that dunk that PJ Washington was going for and got totally fouled that they didn't call. The refs swallowed the whistles. I think in the next 2 games, the Mavs are going to handle these Celtics. You're going to be really surprised. Kyrie's not playing in front of Boston. So they'll win the next 2 games. They'll go back to Boston. Boston will win that game. Then they'll win in Dallas. And then we're going to get a game 7 in Boston. So they do need to play the rest of the games, Mike Joyce. That's how it works.
Yeah, I know, but I think he's just saying it's just pretty much over. Here he is, Screwface John.
Whoa.
Seeing that you guys were talking about games, did you see the rumor they're going to start connecting the Marvel games like Wolverine, Black Panther, etc. in a MGU? Do you think it's a good idea or not? Does he mean like the actual canon stuff, or
actual canon stuff?
Connecting to the MCU itself?
Yeah, but I mean, this makes sense because this is how Disney's been doing Star Wars. So why wouldn't they do this?
Kind of. But
well, right.
Have they? That's why I don't know if it is a good idea because
fair point, yeah.
But I trust Kevin Feige and Marvel to do it way better than I trust Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm to do it because they were just doing it to say, hey guys, buy our games because it all counts, and their executives don't even care about it. I think that the executives over at Marvel will actually care about it.
Well, I mean, DC's doing the same thing. James Gunn, right? James Gunn saying like, if you voice a character in animated, you're actually the live action version of that character, and the video games and the comics might be leaning into canon. So I wouldn't be surprised. It's a smart business move. You want to make the way to sell these things is to have them connected to the overall story you're telling. And so, yeah, I wouldn't be a surprise if Marvel does that. But I don't think the entire game will be canon. No. Certain things in the game will be canon.
But I'm glad you brought up James Gunn, though, because I think what James Gunn is, I think out of everybody so far, and I should say I want to hear all of Marvel's plans before I say that definitively, but I think that James Gunn said it best. He's like, there will be some games that connect into the DCU, and then there will be some that do not.
Right.
In the same way that the Elseworld stuff. It's like, that's the way to do it. In the same way that you could have done that with Star Wars and going like, this Mandalorian game plays into the show.
Yeah.
This game has nothing to do with anything, and it's almost like a legend. It's not everything's canon now. It's like, okay, then I'll buy the book. Yeah, but when it comes to it, we're going to change it because our creators don't want to do that.
Right.
And it's like, that's okay. So I just spent money because you lied to me.
Yeah, you lied to me.
You lied to me. That's all it was. And it's like you could, and James Gunn did not. James Gunn said, no, some games will and some games won't. That's just honest business.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, Simon's section. So there's an Inside Out sequel, or as I would like to call it, Herman's Head if it had another seson. I love that show. What an underrated show. Still curious. We'll see it on TV like Herman.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's did he see it? And in the show, did he see it on TV?
No, I think what he's saying is that like he's gonna wait till it streams on Disney Plus to watch it.
Okay. Like Mike Joyce. Are you watching My Adventures with Superman on Max? I love their fresh new take on Superman. No, I haven't seen it. Do you watch it, John?
No, I don't. Michael watches it. I don't.
Does he like it or not really?
He loves it. Yeah, he thinks it's great. So, but it's not it's old school 1940s animated. Yeah, it's got that 1940s approach. So
cool. I like that. That's cool.
I don't know, bro.
No, I know, but I'm telling you, the two shows like Dark Matter, which is it's Jennifer Connelly and Joel Edgerton.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Okay.
It's so good. And Arcane. Those are the two things that you will like both of those shows.
I got to do a House of the Dragon rewatch this week, but yes.
Oh, you're gonna do a rewatch? Okay. Yeah. Darth Archie. Acolyte Schmackolite. I hope this show would be Andor level show. It's like a disappointing dookie. Glad it's out. Didn't hurt, but it's messy. Right.
I agree. It's a little bit messy in tones.
Yeah, I thought Darth Archie had another one in there that did I miss one?
Okay.
I thought I missed one. I'll go back and check. I thought I saw one from him. I'll double check. Screwface John. At this point, Kristian is the only person I trust on Star Wars takes. Everyone else seems to be on. They hate everything or love everything. I mean, yeah, dude, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get the the like we talked about last week, the middle side of it, because as John mentioned earlier, you got to have a thick skin because people will say like, I can't even tell you. I said, I don't know if I'm really digging this. And someone goes, shill. I'm like, huh? You're a shill if you don't you're liking it. And then those same people go, oh, this guy hates everything. And it's like, whatever. So I don't know. And then I don't even the guy who wrote, I don't even, maybe he was talking about you, Tommy. I thought you loved it. I was like,
I never said that. Yeah.
I never said that either. So I don't know who he was talking. Maybe he commented on the wrong video. Sometimes people do that.
Yeah. Screw. I take it personally, and I'm hurt that you think I don't look at this and analyze it fairly. So, but yeah, go ahead.
Let's see. And then is that? And then let's see. I have some. I could have sworn that there was another one that I had there. Let's see. Okay. Spidey Sensei 72. Did you see Bo DeMeo has done an interview with the Diabolical Souls podcast? I did. Did he talk about why he left? They had to have asked him.
Yeah.
Had to.
I would like to have seen that.
Yeah. Tiberius Monk.
Hey,
I didn't see that, by the way. I will check out that both stuff. If there's some stuff, let us know. I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Tiberius says, hello, Kristian and John. I saw Bad Boys 4 this week and felt like more of the same, but it was still entertaining. Yeah, I agree with you. With the Reggie moment being one of the best scenes in film this year. 100%. We're on the same page.
Sold the movie.
Same page. Sold the movie. 100. That was that. People were in the critic screening. People were screaming and yelling in that scene. I can't even imagine what the regular audience was doing for that one.
Yeah.
Keep up the great work. Thank you so much. And then Screwface says, my last chat wasn't a shot at Rocha, by the way. Perfect.
I noticed he paid less for that one. Thanks.
Yeah, right. Bam 86. Indina Jones has always been over the top and cheesy. And that was on purpose? I disagree. Why do indie fans hold the newer indie films up to this realism?
What's cheesy about a guy getting cut up by a propeller? I mean, what are you talking about?
I wouldn't say cheesy. I don't think cheesy is the right word. Over the top, yeah, sure. And in the adventure way, but not. But it still stayed on on a pretty serious tone. Maybe you could look at that in Temple of Doom, and there are some moments that are comical, but over the top and cheesy. I wouldn't agree with that.
Crowd pleasing is not always cheesy. I think that's what he's trying to say, and that's the difference there. Cheesy is like eye rolling. Crowd pleasing is not eye rolling. So
yeah. Okay. Justin Square, there he is. What's up, Justin?
Yeah.
I just saw a picture of him recently. We did I was going through all my old photos as I was cleaning stuff up, and there's Spectacular Ford. He was like holding the belt. It was pretty cool.
Right.
I just started watching because I was finishing watching the Demolanta show. Anyway, have you seen the trailer to Pharrell's Lego biopic? Have you seen it, John?
Yeah, we covered it on the Geek Buddies on Friday. What an unusual way to tell this story. And I was really surprised they went this route, but it looked fantastic. I was like I had my my eyebrow raised at this one thing, and this is a foolishness. But then I watched, I was like, it's just a really positive thing. I mean, I wonder how they're going to handle blurred lines, but they're telling essentially Pharrell Williams' story. So I'm excited to see what it's going to look like. And there's a lot of people, and Snoop Dogg's in it, Gwen Stefani's in it. Yeah, a lot of people. So it's a lot of fun.
Okay, I got to check that out.
Yeah.
Hank Kim. I don't know how people still get swindled by concessions at the theater. That's pockets, purses, fanny packs, of course. Put your snacks in there. I mean, I think that there's something about it too, that if you can do it, like my kids love getting popcorn at the movies. I mean, they just love it. They love, like, it's one of the, like, my 12-year-old has literally said, I don't care what this movie is. I just want to eat popcorn in the theater and watch a movie. Like, and that's one of the reasons why I'm like, I like taking her, because I don't feel like a lot of people feel like that anymore. I just want to go to the movies, eat popcorn, and watch a movie. Like, it's like, I love doing that. So
me too.
Yeah.
I will say that there is a Wetzel's by the one I go to in Mission Valley. So I will stop off, put it in a black bag, and take that into the theater.
Those Wetzel's, man, I can't do it anymore. They're really good. That cheese sauce, man.
Oh my God.
Bobby Jackson, what's up, Bobby? I think I figured out why you haven't finished Shogun. It's the subtitles. No, it's not the subtitles. No, it's definitely not the subtitles. You probably have to be in the right mindset to be able to lock in with everything going on. You haven't been able to. That's not wrong. Right. It's not the subtitles though. It's locking in, and I don't want to. And now I have a little my TVs are being shipped out, so I've got a little TV that I'm borrowing from my father-in-law right now. So it's like a small little TV, and I want to give it the full experience and everything too. So no, I have, but yes, I can't lock in fully, but when I'm able to, I love the show. I love it. Yeah. But I just have to, I'll finish it. Sure. Bobby finishes. Sure. What are your thoughts on Star Wars Outlaws? Is that something you'll play? It's something that I think that I'm going to, it's another thing to me that looked like the same story that we've gotten a billion times. Again, the same story. It's like, here's the outlaw that's not really an outlaw. She's good, and she's gonna find the error in her ways, and she's gonna turn it around, and she's gonna be the good guy by the end of it. And it's like, seen that story. They even did that with Boba Fett recently. It's like, just seen that so many times. So that's when I'm gonna go and say, hey, did you play that? How was it? Is it really that good? All right, I trust you. Then I'll do it. But I don't know. Fair. Are you gonna play that one?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm gonna start ramping up the Twitch channel with gameplay. Okay. So yeah, definitely.
Okay. Carlton Rudder, my top 5 for the summer: Despicable Me, or Deadpool, Wolverine, right? Twisters, there you go, John. Yeah. Inside Out, and Quiet Place Day One. I don't know if Quiet Place is gonna beat out.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I feel like Quiet Place Day 1 is going to fall into the same trap as Furiosa. You're not bringing back any of the characters that we know from the original, and so that could be a dangerous thing for it.
Yes, but it costs less than Furiosa.
It does, right? No, so it could make a lot of money, but it might not make the money to rival what we got in the other ones. But maybe.
No, did he have apes in there, or didn't have apes?
Not have apes.
Nah, apes is at least going to be the 5 spot. Okay. Hank Pym, Clash of the Castle predictions. I think Punk will screw Drew out of the title. Don't see any belts changing in the setter. Yeah, I think that there's no world where Drew's going to win that title yet, and because they're going to lead up to Punk and Drew fighting, and they're not going to do it for the title.
Yeah, probably not. It can't be for the title. Punk doesn't need a title, all right, and those days are gone. And if he wins one down the road, great. But CM Punk is such an entity now that he does not need the title. And I do agree with Kristian. I don't think any belts are changing hands. Clash at the Castle is not where you want the belts changing hands. You just want to deliver fantastic product for the fans there. But yeah.
I think Liv Morgan's doing good work right now, John.
Bullshit. You're insane.
You think so?
No.
All right. Fair.
I think she's a medium level wrestler.
Damn.
And her promos are okay. But I haven't seen the leveling up yet.
Oh. Yeah.
Those matches with Becky were not great. They were not good matches.
What do you think? Ricochet's going to AEW?
I think Ricochet, and he deserves to go to AEW. Have some fun there, man. Make some money, because clearly they're paying out, even though the ratings are not good. They're paying out people, so go get your bag, man. I love it.
And a title. They'll probably give him the belt.
Give him the title. Give him the belt.
Matt Sinister McCallum.
Him and Swerve would be incredible. So I'm just looking.
Matt Sinister McCallum, movies that need a remake and why? Hellraiser for me. I don't even care at this point because I don't think that I'm going to be able to ever make it, but I'll tell you the one that I think. The problem that has always happened with remakes is they keep remaking movies that were good that don't need remakes, right?
Yeah.
You got to remake movies that were terrible that had good premises. There's a movie that I loved and I've pitched this, and I pitched it to someone that we know that we've talked about too, and it's out there now. Someone will steal it once I talk about it. It's called The Slugger's Wife. Do you remember that movie?
Oh God, yes, from the 80s.
And it's Rebecca De Mornay and Daryl, what's his name? Michael O'Keefe.
Michael O'Keefe, yeah.
And it's essentially, at the time, it was before Roger Maris's record was broken, and it's about this guy. He's on the Atlanta Braves before the Braves had their resurgence, and this guy just out of nowhere meets this singer, Rebecca De Mornay, and then just starts hitting homers like crazy. And it was actually what's his face? Oh my god, dude, I can't. Legendary freaking do you know who directed it?
Yeah, Martin Hal Ashby.
No.
He did.
No,
I'm looking at it right now, bro. He directed on IMDb. Hal Ashby directed.
Not directed, wrote it. Sorry.
Neil Simon wrote it. Neil Simon wrote it.
Neil Simon. That's what I meant. Neil Simon wrote it. And so anyway, and it was this idea, and I was like, how great would it be if you take like an actual team now that's been struggling, but he put it in like and I know that the Mets have good seasons. Yeah, but they have good seasons at bats. But imagine a guy doing that, but it's not the home run record. It's Joe DiMaggio's record.
Oh,
and you do Joe DiMaggio's record inside of this thing, and somehow he's got to keep that going. And you do like an actual like drama, more so like a Star is Born.
Oh yeah.
And you take away the kind of goofiness with the Randy Quaid stuff and all that stuff that was going on in there.
Yeah,
that's one. Do you have one that you'd want to do?
Wait, it's been so long you've been talking. What's the question again?
If you had a remake of one that you wanted to do.
I'll tell you what. One of my favorite 1980s films is Running Scared with Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines.
Sure.
Peter Hyams was going to do a sequel to that, but then ended up, they couldn't get a script correct to do it. I would love to see a remake of that film. That is such a fun Chicago film. Okay. I'd love to see a remake of that with two actors who would kick ass in that. And that's Billy Crystal before he became mainstream safe Billy Crystal. Billy's still got an edge in that movie. Gregory Hines. So,
Renee Reyes. Acolyte's a different tone than what Lucasfilm portrayed it to be. That's really I agree.
Yeah.
It's got it does have a little bit, not overly, but there's a CW kind of young adult feel to it.
That's what I said in my review. Yeah.
Did you?
CW vibe. Yeah.
It's got a CW kind of like a young adult feel. And I thought it was going more in the Andor really dark, kind of sinister Sith thing. And so I think that is not accurate of what it is.
I get what they're going for in terms of, like I said this on our last show on Monday. I get what they're going for in terms of appealing to the younger demographic, because you want to get young fans to enjoy Star Wars. Totally get it. It's a financially smart decision. But the clashing of tones is too much. And look, if the whole premise of the show is killing Master Jedi, not random Jedi on the outer rim, hanging out, low-level Jedi. These are Master Jedi that are part of the council. That is massive. And so it's like killing a cardinal or killing a police captain that is well known in your town. That is massive. So the weight of that should be coming through in some of these performances, and it's not. And I think that's frustrating me, man.
It should feel like that moment in the Bourne Identity in the very beginning of the movie when when he realizes what he's doing.
And yes.
And it's like when he goes to take out the guy, but he doesn't succeed. But it's like this international incident that happens.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. And it should be everywhere. It should be like,
everywhere.
It should be everywhere. Like everywhere you go, like it's on tablets or things. Like someone just tried to take out a Jedi. This is when the Jedi were running the joint.
Yeah.
So it's like it goes back to the idea that there's some things, and I still stand by this. There are some things that are written better, dialogue, I think, that written better in some like Ahsoka and this other stuff. But like stuff like that adds into the overall writing problem that Star Wars has right now.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so Josh Needle. I thought the original Bad Boys was just okay. I thought 2 was terrible. Not a Bay fan at all. Do you think I would enjoy the 2 newer movies more? Yes, I do, because I feel the same in that Michael Bay is, to me, if I never saw the guy ever again do anything, I would be fine. I think he's one of the worst directors in the history of film, ever. And so that movie, the first movie, The Rock, and there's probably a few others that I might give them, okay, say they're fine, but that's it. I think that these 2 directors do a better job with making me care and they don't rely on slow motion. They do slow motion because it's a part of the franchise now, but they don't rely on it to tell a damn story, and they don't have to do gratuitous shots and this stuff. You'll like the last 2, I think, better.
I'm gonna have your citizenship revoked in America for saying that thing about
you love Michael Bay.
I mean, Armageddon. Come on, it's the greatest American film of the last.
It's not bad. It's fine. But then, okay. Then let's talk about majority of the Transformers movies. Okay, so
they made $5 billion. Yes, let's talk.
I'm not talking about how much money made. I'm talking about.
I am.
No, that's why you lose arguments. Okay, nerds.
Go ahead.
Our watch along is going to become a regular thing on the channel. It's one of the biggest draws on YouTube to watch the people who are also passionate about whatever show or film. It's part of the community. Thanks. I mean, I think that I obviously will probably finish up Acolyte, and then House of the Dragon I'll do. The Boys I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I'm definitely doing Arcane, and I'll definitely do One Piece, but I don't think that's this year. But I'll do them for sure. And John, you've been doing them also lately.
Yeah. I've been diving back into them. I was doing the Doctor Who ones; those weren't getting as much traction, so I just focus on Acolyte, and then I'll do the Boys, and I'll do the Bear. Probably, I might do the Bear as an extended one, but definitely House of the Dragon. So yeah, those are plans for sure.
Okay, Tiberius Monk. I find reactions from folks like Stephen A. Smith talking about the Will slap now is overblown at this point. Chris Rock bodied Will like Thanos bodied Stark in Infinity War. Feels like chasing clicks. Yeah, I think that it's just trying to get people talking about something to get it back into the zeitgeist again.
Stephen A. Smith chasing clicks? What? Yeah.
Did you see the way he walked into that game? What's he doing?
He thinks he's something, and he's
you're a broadcaster. Like, what are you doing?
Remember I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker, that movie with the parody movie?
Yeah.
Remember when the pimp came out of prison and he was still wearing the shit from the 70s with his platform shoes that had goldfish in it? That's what I felt when I was watching Stephen A. Smith walk like that. He looked ridiculous, looked foolish. He looked out of date.
Yeah. I think you missed this is Ralph. Missed a few super chats from me. I'm going to go to the start. I think that's where they went to, because I think I missed one from Darth Archie too. So I'm going to go back and I'll check the start after I go through.
Okay.
John Lee, Boys season 4 premieres this week. How many more seasons do you think it will last? I still enjoy it, but eventually Homelander has to be stopped. I mean, what I have to tell you is that it just depends. I can't answer that question until I see this season. If it's like, if you leave the season going, oh man, they opened this up that this could go on for another 3 years, or you could say like, how long can they go with this storyline? So I don't know yet. Let me see this season, then I'll come back to you on it. What do you think, John?
Yeah, I think it'll go because you say Homelander needs to be stopped. I mean, what are you talking about? Our whole society, our whole world has people who keep succeeding and they need to be stopped. So I don't think actually he needs to be stopped at all, because he exposes some of the underbelly of how America has done stuff, which is what he's supposed to symbolize. So I think it's important. As long as America exists, Homelander needs to exist. So
yeah. Carlton Rudder, great point, John, for Quiet Place Day 1 and Furiosa. Okay. Our friend Cooley High.
Hey, Cooley.
He's the best. Bad Boys was awesome. I love you guys. I'm glad that you enjoyed it, man.
Yeah,
so,
me too.
People are really digging it. People are really digging it. And then the great Aisha Kenya.
Hey.
$9.99 there. No question. Just wanted to show some love and appreciate for all your hard work, Kristian and Rocha. Thank you, Aisha.
I love Aisha.
She's one of the goats. Okay, so let me just go. I'm going to keep going.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to go to the start because I think I missed some.
Okay.
I did. Yeah, there's a few of them here.
Okay.
So Tyler Pfeiffer. This is a throwback, but I rewatched the trial of JTE last weekend. Absolute gold. It is one of the best comedic things that we've ever done.
Yeah.
Easily. And then Dagnino had the line of the century. Do you remember the line, John?
No, I don't. It's been a while since I watched it.
So, do you remember? Essentially, for people who don't know, JTE was accused of cheating against Ellis, and then for beating Ellis, and then we put him on trial the following week to see if he was going to go wind up and play in the next match. And we did this whole trial. The original, the prosecuting attorney was Hal Rudnick.
Yes.
His defense attorney was Finstock. Do you know who the original prosecuting attorney was, but had to cancel at the last minute? Andrew Santino.
Oh, wow.
It was locked in. We had him locked in for like a month.
That's
like a week. And then he wasn't able to do it. But Dagnino comes in with this Bob Ross wig. This is all about trial and error. He goes, and my client being on trial, it's an error.
It's an error.
It was so good. I think Stuckman was one of the judges on the thing. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So okay. See now. Tyler also says, hey, Bill Skarsgård also back as Pennywise for the It Show. That is great news because originally that wasn't the case, right?
Yeah, it was someone else that they were looking at.
You had to get him. For sure. Okay, Mustafa Aguin. Hey, Kristian, I wanted to reflect for a moment on the old Watch Mojo movie critics list. What was your reaction at the time, and is John still on top? I would absolutely put John's on top because of his consistency.
Yeah, and
he's been at it since 2010. He started after Mark and I did, and he's just been super consistent. He is the perfect example of it. If it ain't broke, he does his thing. He knows how to do his thing. He loves doing the thing the way he does, and he's always been kind of the rock star of the YouTube movie space. So yeah, he's been the most consistent, and he's also, you can always rely on him. And I seem to usually land on his point of view. A lot of things we always at the time when that list landed, Mark and I were actually doing our thing. I didn't agree with it, to be completely honest. I thought we were ranked a little lower than we should have been, because I also think one of the things that, this is a Rotten Tomatoes thing, not anybody else to know about thing, but one of the accomplishments that Mark and I had is we are the first YouTube movie reviewers ever to be certified on Rotten Tomatoes. We're the first ones ever. We had Matt Atchity, who was running the thing at the time, was on the show, and I asked him point blank, hey, how come there are no YouTube reviewers or online people, that are doing videos? And he's like, well, why don't you apply? I said, I will. And I did. And we got in, and that was it. And there was nobody that was doing it at the time. And then it took years before another YouTube reviewer was. And I think that should have stood for something for inside of that list, but it is what it is. But now I would absolutely, there's so many other people now that do it consistently all of the time that are so up there that continue to do it. But I think John's is the one who does everything. He's the one. Yeah, John's I would give the number one spot to, hands down.
Yeah, Jeremy's untouchable. I love that about him.
Yeah. Okay. So Johnny Venerable, if the accolade doesn't showcase key canon entities like Yoda and Darth Plagueis, what's the point? Too vital to the Star Wars lore to ignore it. I couldn't agree more. I agree with you. I think that Yoda is not going to show up in this series, which is ridiculous.
It certainly doesn't feel like it. Yeah,
he's not going to show up, and it's ridiculous. How do you not put? He's only 100 years younger.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he have a major presence? Why wouldn't you go see Master Yoda going, what the hell's going on?
Who's killing these Jedi? Who are these people killing these Jedi?
Why would you have him involved? Because they want to distance themselves in the same way they don't use any of the music. They want to distance themselves. It's so silly. And Darth Plagueis, they're not going to look. The only thing with Darth Plagueis is that if they decide to canon make him human, well, then he wouldn't really be around yet.
Right.
But if you're going to make him immune, then he would be around and he would be kind of in the shadows, you would think. But I don't know. I think that they absolutely should. I don't know.
But they're not making the show for you hardcore Star Wars nerds. They're making the show for the Star Wars fan, the casual Star Wars fan. So Yoda at least is splitting the difference. Yoda should absolutely show up. Darth Plagueis, that's a little deep for some people, but Yoda should absolutely show up. I think it's fair.
Miguel Zane. That's a very generous super chat. Thank you. Hey, who do you think should be the big bad of the X-Men franchise? Rocha, should they start with Sinister, kind of like starting with Loki, then being manipulated by Thanos, then their end game would be Apocalypse? Thanks. I like that plan. I like his plan a lot. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Sinister's an interesting guy. Can it work? We've already seen it in X-Men 97, so people have now preconceived ideas or people have read the comics, but it's not a well-known villain. So if they did go that route, I think it'd be really gutsy of them to do it that way, but they'd have to really make it work. So I like the idea. It could work. The Magneto versus Charles thing is kind of played out.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the avenue you go in. But who knows where they're starting though? Like, are they starting at the beginning of X-Men? Are they starting in the middle of X-Men? Have X-Men been around a while? Because you could mess around with that if they've been around a while. There's a lot of villains there.
I think they're going to come over from the multiverse. So we'll see. Again, Mustafa says, what is the story behind your Chucky doll? I recently paid $450 for an Annabelle replica. Also, over under 50% that Arnie returns as Dutch before he passes.
Ooh.
I'm only saying over 50 because I want it to be true, but I'm gonna go. But I think realistically it's under. But I'm gonna go over. I think that would be so smart for them, especially like Hulu. Go get them back. Get them back for like one more movie. That'd be great. As far as the Chucky doll, Universal sent it to promote their to promote the show when it was coming, and I love it. It's gonna stick around in the studio. I had to convince my family to let me keep it, but I'm gonna keep it.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I mean, Elle is in talks, Elle Fanning, to star in a standalone Predator movie with Dan Trachtenberg. So it could be interesting depending on where they place it, right? So I don't know, maybe. But I would love to see him back.
Maybe one Dutch movie. All right. So Mike Joyce, have you seen Richard Linklater's new movie? It's fantastic. Also, is Glenn Powell a bona fide movie star? Movie star is hard for me to give to anybody now because movie star to me, I mean, well, it depends. It depends. What is your definition of movie star? Are you defining someone that can just, you think of a movie star, you think of Glenn Powell, he's got that look, he's got that kind of Matthew McConaughey feel, sure. Right. Now, the definition of a movie star that can sell tickets, I don't think that movie star exists anymore. I think it's the IP that sells it, but I think he's a talented actor, and I think he's a movie star as far as like the overall feel goes, sure.
Yeah. THR put him on their top list on the A list in their top 10 of their A list. And so I would argue, yes, he's an A-list talent. I don't know if he's a movie star yet. Anyone but you doing well is fine, but he wasn't the lead of Top Gun Maverick. And so like, show me that box office bona fide explosion, big franchise movie that he is leading, then yes, I'll have a conversation about movie star status. But yeah.
There he is. Darth Art.
Yeah.
This is Arch. My fat ass owner is hauling an extra 20 pounds lately. How'd you drop yours? Need details. Pissing in his food ain't working. Just eating better, and at AG1, eating better. Magic Spoon, all that stuff has helped out tremendously. So that's what I tell your owner. Ralph, another hating Scorsese take. I love how King Marty is living in the heads of comic nerds rent free. Some people can't move on. Yeah, because Coy took a shot at the Irishman the other day.
What?
Yeah.
What did it say about the Irishman?
Oh, he was pissing on it all over. But I was like, I don't think it's one of his best, but I like it better than most.
Irishman's fantastic.
There's a lot of great things about the Irishman. There are some things, the criticism of the deep fake old De Niro stomping on someone pretending he's 30 is
that's fair. Totally.
But I do like that movie more than
well, Coy is a spastic type of individual. So maybe the 3-hour movie is too much for him to sit through, bouncing off the walls. If you want to have a debate between me and Coy over Irishman, I will absolutely have that debate with him on your show.
Well, Mad Sinister McCall, what's a TV show you hate that everyone loves and why?
Ooh.
Mine is Little Outhouse on the Prairie or Crap Walton. I was thinking, sucks. Great show. Go to our love. Oh man, what's a show?
McCall, you coming from stuff from the 70s?
I can't. I'm going to think of one.
What's the question? What is a show that everyone loves that you hate?
Everyone loves. Wait, no, show that you hate that everyone loves.
Oh,
okay. What's one? I got to think. I would have to think about it. There's one. I don't know. I don't know.
Friends.
Oh
God, I hate that show. Oh,
really?
I hate Friends.
Oh, I love that show.
My God.
I love that show.
Is life so tough for you? I mean, oh my God, the show is annoying. And no disrespect to the late great Matthew Perry, but I'll
tell Bonnie.
Please tell Roxy too. I'm just not a Friends fan at all.
I have to think about that one, man. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Levi R. Hello, Kristian. I would love to know yours and Rocha's top 10 directors working today. Oh man, top 10. I can give you. I mean, I'll just say that I'll just throw in a bunch that come to the top of my head without thinking.
Go ahead.
So Christopher Nolan for sure. Scorsese, Tarantino. I think that right now we're working today. I think that another director that has like event films is Jordan. Yeah. I think Jordan Peele is doing event films.
Okay.
So I would say, and then Greta Gerwig is another one who's starting to.
Yeah,
they're also
for sure.
I would say, Matthew Vaughn. Even though I didn't like that last movie, I still look forward to his movies. Yeah, I mean, there's ones I'm gonna be missing, but those are the ones that pop out of my head.
Yeah, I've Cuarón Inarritu, of course, Nolan. Villeneuve is my top right now. Nobody could touch Denis. PTA. I think Fincher is still doing great stuff when he gets a chance to do great stuff. And like Tarantino and Scorsese, who's still and even Spielberg, because I really loved West Side Story, and so he's still doing his thing, for God's sakes. And Spike whenever he directs, for fuck's sake. Spike.
Ralph, are you too religious? Do you believe in God? What was your religious upbringing? What do you believe in now? Are you agnostic? Just wondering. I think I'm more agnostic right now myself. And I was raised Catholic, and it went very much so. But I have, like I said, I just think there's a lot out there that can be explained that hasn't been explained that I don't know. And I think maybe some that so I'm more so on the I don't know more. I don't know where John's at.
No, yeah, I grew up Catholic. I very much believe in God and Jesus Christ. It's a very important thing in my life, which I don't talk about it a lot, but I believe in it, and I'm not religious because I don't believe in religion, and I'm not denigrating religion. I know it's important for people to have religion and believe, but it's not my job. It's not my jam. Rather, I don't go to church. I don't go to that. But because I don't like Christian knows this. I don't like anybody between me and what I need. I don't like anybody telling me what to do. So I communicate with the big man straight up. I don't need an intermediary like a priest or anything like that. I communicate with the big man up there. But people who love religion, need religion, enjoy religion, of course, more power to you. Respect, nothing but respect.
Yeah, I don't take away anybody's beliefs on what they believe.
Absolutely.
Ronetta. So let's see. Thank you, Ronetta. What's up, guys? Bad Boys was fun, and the last hour was great. Can you believe Star Trek, Up, and Hangover came out that summer in 2009? It's 15 years. Wow, where did the time go? Happy for Martin and Will, glad it overperformed. I know it is weird, and I think that what John said, what you said before, though, is right. Like there is an air of like you can't predict. You can't predict what's going to happen. You can kind of theorize and say, okay, maybe the nostalgia will do this, but it is a little all over the place right now.
Yeah. And you know what? These guys are older movie stars, Kristian. So who could have predicted? And the reviews, the views on their trailers weren't that strong. And so I was like in my mind thinking maybe there isn't that much interest, and then it exploded. So yeah.
All right. So this is Ralph. Fun fact: Oppenheimer is the only film since 2020 that has a 90-day window because Nolan demanded it. Is he Hollywood's most powerful filmmaker? I mean, he's certainly up there, and I think deservedly so, right? Is there anybody else?
Yeah, I would agree with that, but I would also put Tom Cruise in the conversation because Tom Cruise held on to Top Gun Maverick for 2 years before he allowed it to be released in theaters. So
yeah. As far as producer goes, but as far as director who says that you can't release my movie for like another 90.
Yeah, I think him and Denis are the top two that could demand that. Maybe even Tarantino, honestly.
I think we might be all caught up. Let's see.
Okay.
Just double checking. Let's see. I finished all of them. Well, you did that. Top 5. I'm just going through. Thank you, everybody who put all these in here. I really appreciate that. And then, here's another one. Okay. So here is Kenneth Colton. What are your guys' most anticipated shows for June? I think Dark Matter on Apple is my favorite so far this year. So far, I'm with you. Starfish fans are going to lose their mind once Acolyte episode 3 drops. I think that I understand that when it comes to the lore itself, as John and I were just talking about, people are going to not like a lot of the things that were in there. But I think as far as the story itself goes, I think it actually ties in a little bit more that way. I don't know, John, what do you think?
Yeah, it ties more into the story. And yes, as Kristian said, there are things that are gonna, if you take it super, super seriously, I think there are things that are going to affect you canon-wise. But I think overall, they're trying to tell a certain story. So if you wait till the 8 episodes are done so you can properly assess it, then I think you'll have a better idea of what they were trying to do and how much of it actually was an insult to canon, quote unquote. Yeah.
Now wait a minute. So what did I say before when he brought up the cheesy thing? I said Temple of Doom. Yes, you'll get some cheesy stuff in Temple of Doom. I said the other ones though, but he brought up Temple of Doom. He said jumping out of a plane with a stereotypical Asian boy and a damsel on a mountain with nothing but a life raft to lead. Not cheesy or unrealistic. Yes, Temple of Doom. Bring me up in the other ones. But
yeah, Bam, I don't Temple of Doom. I don't like Temple of Doom, so I don't put Temple of Doom in the conversation with the first one and
I like
Last Crusade. So yeah, I agree. Temple of Doom
can be goofy and for sure. But it's also dark as hell, that movie. The Temple of
pulling hearts out of chests, pretty dark. Yeah.
Great dumb.
Hey.
Was Mel Gibson's Maverick a better reproduction of an old TV show than The Fall Guy? It certainly did better at the box office. Well, you're also talking about a time when Mel Gibson was one of the biggest movie stars on the planet, and movies sold box office tickets, and so was Jodie Foster, right? And so at that time in '94, different things. But I think the story was a little bit better for sure.
Well, and also we were a different society in '94 because stuff like Maverick, older movies or older TV shows rather, people were watching with multiple generations of their family.
Right.
No one's watching Fall Guy with their dad or grandfather nowadays. So, but Maverick was something that at the time in the '90s was still just a little bit past the time, and so people were still watching it with their respective family members. So I think that was, plus you had Danny and you had Jodie Foster, who was also at the apex of her career, so to speak. I don't think Ryan or Emily are necessarily in that same kind of category overall at the time.
True. And to answer Kenneth Colton's question, as far as my most anticipated, House of the Dragon, for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Easily. Okay, Luke Skywalker. Your best movies of 2024. Furiosa and Challengers is his. Dune 2. Nothing's touching Dune right now.
Leave it to Skywanker to ask us our best movie, and then he lists 2. You're such a wanker, Skywanker. For God's sakes.
I still haven't seen Challengers. I hear great things.
Challengers was great. I loved it. I don't know.
Everybody,
I don't know if people didn't like it, but I would say Furiosa is probably my number one. Probably.
Really? Over Dune 2?
Oh, sorry, I forgot about Dune 2. Sorry, I was thinking summer. Yes, Dune 2 is number 1. Furiosa probably number 2. Yeah,
Dune 2 is probably my 1, and I got Apes as my number 2. But I gotta go through everything again and look at all the stuff that
I haven't seen Apes yet. I'm gonna see Apes tomorrow.
Oh, you haven't seen Apes yet? Okay. Tiberius, can Star Wars be magical again? The Force Awakens was the last time Star Wars felt truly magical. I missed that so much. Denis is my favorite director currently, best director of the last decade. Yeah, I'm so mad that I forgot him before. I'm so glad John brought him up. Can it be magical again? I think the problem is this, that I know that it is, and it is almost like an impossible task to try to target and make. You're never going to make 100% of people happy, but there is a way to make a majority happy. There really is, even though people don't think that it's true, because like I always bring up Mandalorian season 1 and season 2. The majority were happy. I think you got to make, if you're going to spend that much money on Star Wars, you got to make Star Wars for the entire fan base, whether you want to or not. If you want it magically, you can't just make it for one corner of the audience. You just can't.
Okay, fair point.
Okay, let's see. I think that's it, John. Let me double check. I'm just going to look at I want to make sure I don't lose any here, and I'm going to go over here. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, we did it. So thank you guys so much for everybody who put in all your questions. There's a lot of them today, so very, very appreciative on that. I want to thank John for being here. He's always here on Monday with me. He's going to continue, and that's the other thing I want to make sure that people know. My first show with John, like official show, like being back in New York, will be this Monday. So coming up Monday will be my first show with John in New York. So we'll still be doing the show. He's gonna and the good news, thank God, this is why I love John. John wakes up at the crack of dawn, so we'll still be able to. I'll be able to do my show at like 11 a.m. my time, and John will still be able to do it. It's probably for you guys on the East Coast, you're probably gonna get the show around 11 a.m. now, and then for West Coast people, you get around 8 in the morning. So, all right, John. So you got a lot going on.
Yes.
You got Hot Mike going to Patreon. Tell us what.
Exactly. Yeah. Come and hang out, ladies and gentlemen, over at the Outlaw Nation channel as well. I'm probably going live tonight around 7. I got some things I want to talk about going on in the world of entertainment. But hey, it's youtube.com/John Rocha Says. The Outlaw Nation is there for you all to enjoy on YouTube. Please go and subscribe to it. Hang out with you. See all the great content like the Hot Mic, which is staying on there. The Jedi Way, the Geek Buddies, my reviews, my reactions. And as Kristian and I were talking about, my watch-alongs now happening for the Acolyte and coming up for House of the Dragon and the Boys. So a lot of content here in June, ramping up, plus some sports stuff coming and some wrestling stuff coming as well down the road. So come and hang out with us there on the Outlaw Nation channel.
All right, John, thank you as always. Man, I appreciate you being here. Thanks to John Rocha. And make sure you go check out John's channel. He does some great stuff over there. And Hot Mike is a fantastic show. I listen to it all the time, so you guys should too. Apple Podcast, Spotify, anywhere podcasts are found. And as I mentioned earlier, ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you get your tickets. If you're going to be on the East Coast to come see us live, me and Dan Merle, you can get the link in the description. I'm also pinned it to both my Twitter accounts. You can go over there and check that out. We're going to be talking about the box office from movies. Dan and I get to do a show together, but you can also live stream it. If you go to that link, you can get the live stream there. For those people who have helped out with the Amazon wish list for New York, thank you. So somebody got something yesterday. Appreciate that. You can help out the show that way. You can help out the show if you want to do it through getting one of our sponsors that I mentioned here today. I would really highly recommend you getting something from Mack Weldon. They're amazing. And obviously, if you need to talk to somebody and you want to talk to somebody and you're able to, you should. And do that through our friends over at BetterHelp. All right. Thanks for joining us here today, guys. I really appreciate it. We'll see you on the flip side. Make sure there's nothing I missed. Okay, good. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. We'll see you later.